I know I've loved you in another life, in another world.
Kia ora and welcome to this healing conversation. If we haven't yet met, my name is Cameron Tukapua. I work as a Chinese medicine practitioner here in Northland, New Zealand, and I'm a passionate advocate of healing conversation. Every day in my practice, I meet people who are struggling with life, who are going through healing changes, who are having relationship challenges. And those people that I see in my practice are reflective of the people all around the world who are adapting to a world in dramatic transformation. So there's so much change going on in the world today, so much chaos, so much craziness, so much disturbance, so much freeing up of old patterns. That's the gift of these times as I see it. You know, we can see the political systems in a disarray. We can see the leaders are not really up for the job, many of them. We can see that the social systems, the political systems, the business systems, they're not serving a world that's going forward and leaving behind old ways. So creating new ways of being that encourage connection, openness, sharing, truth, honesty, that's my calling. And along the way, I meet these amazing, extraordinary individuals who are contributing to that. So my calling is to offer education on how to see these times and how to engage with the truth of who we are at heart, how to bring that forward in our own individual lives and to connect more meaningfully with the lives of those around us. So recently, I met a young woman called Zoe, not her real name, but we're using the name of Zoe. So Zoe means life. And this is a real life story of a woman who came to me initially for a one-to-one consultation. And her main challenge was her relationship. So through a series of conversations and connections and discoveries, she decided then to come and join me on retreat. And so we went through a 7-day process together. At that time, that retreat was called the Power of Yin, which is giving voice to the inside energy of who we are, the feminine power of who we are, the hidden nature of who we are, our thoughts, our hopes, our dreams, our ancestral strength and powers. Like, it explores that, explores where we've come from, how we nourish ourselves, how life is a flowing system of energies and how to get into flow with that, how to come forward and presence ourselves in the truth of who we are. And that course eventually became called Nourishing Roots. And this woman, Zoe, has used this pathway, Nourishing Roots, to explore those very things. And as a consequence of that journey, she changed her whole life and she wanted to share her story. Because in her own words, she wants to explore being authentic, being truthful. And she wants to explore how she can use her story to take the Me Too movement forward. So in her words, Zoe's recognizing that the Me Too movement has raised awareness of the inequality, the injustices, and the stereotyping of men and women in the world. And this whole history of where we've come from around relational balance and power balance in men and women, it's an old story, it's an outdated story. And many of us are ready for change. And so Zoe wants to share her story, how the Exploring Nourishing Roots journey has impacted her. And I want to share the steps of that story, because I feel that these steps are very powerful ways of connecting to who we are, exploring where we've come from in the context of our ancestral energy. So we all come to life with the inherited patterns of being that are coded into the bones of our being, right? So each of us is recreating our lives and the shape of our lives literally in the shape of our ancestors. So for most of us, that shaping of who we are, it's unconscious. We don't necessarily explore that and the influence of that. And at the same time, that unconscious identity, it's unfolding through us and it's communicating through us every day of our lives. So in this journey, we explore that in the context of Chinese medicine as source essence. So at conception, we inherit this essence from our parents. And that essence is living in the bones of our being. It's the matrix for blood production. So it's the foundation of our physical self. And alongside of that inherited source essence, there are tendencies to constitutional patterns of being. So we've inherited these challenges of our ancestors, the hang-ups, if you like, the ways where our families were not that functional. So in my family, there was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of mental confusion. So I've used that challenge to propel me towards seeking clarity. I'm still working on that, right? It's a lifetime challenge. I'm looking for clear ways of seeing things so that I can understand what's actually happening here. So we get these strengths from our ancestors, and we also get these challenges. And when we make them more conscious, we can use them to explore who we are at heart, who the truth of who we are is, and how to express that and bring that forward. So this series, Stepping Forward, it's about that. And week by week, I'm going to introduce you to the key teachings. So in this one, we're talking about source essence. And Zoe's going to use her story to illustrate how she used her understanding of where she came from, what is challenging her, to lean into her strengths and to be conscious and mindful of her challenges and navigate her way beyond those challenges and step forward into a new phase. So she's sharing her journey, and I'll leave that sharing to her in her own words, and it's there in text story to follow. So from my point of view, I feel like we need language and conversation around this time. We need healing conversations to help ourselves and each other come forward, to move with this energy and change of these times. We're in radical times of transformation, and there's a lot about the old world that no longer serves us. And together we're co-creating a new world, finding solutions to these community challenges. And one of the big challenges is equality. How do we find equality? And this conversation is an attempt at exploring how to work together to transform and move beyond our patterns and not create a divisive atmosphere of us and them. So we can blame others for our lives. We can blame our parents. We can blame the abusive partner. We can blame the boss at work. We can blame the circumstances of our lives, or we can accept them and bring them in to discover what it is about them that we're needing to learn from and transform with and through and move forward. So I welcome you to this journey, and who knows where it's going to take us, certainly not me. Kia ora.